Okay, we're filming.
Okay, this is Ballasting Track 101. What you want to do is when you're placing your ballast on a track, that's one thing that will make a layout look that much better is if you do a good job on laying your ballast. This is the way I ballast track. It's not the way of ballasting track. Each person has their own way as long as it looks good. But this is the way I was taught by Dick Donahue, a former member of the club. And what he did was he would put white glue on the sides like this. And the reason for that was that the sides of your roadbed are beveled. And if you don't put something that is sticky down first, when you put your ballast down, it will just roll right off the roadbed. So you get the glue and you spread it around. Careful not to get it on tops of the ties. And again, more glue is better, but you want to make sure that you don't get it on tops of the ties. That's one thing that will ruin your ballast job, is if you get too much ballast laying on tops of those ties. There. What I use is this little, homemade tool that I've made. It's made from a Mounds. Thank you. A Mounds, your candy box. You just cut a square, and then you cut off the point so it looks like this. And that allows me, again, this was shown to me by Dick Donahue, and it's a way to control the amount of ballast that goes on the track. Today we're using a gray blend, a medium ballast for HO track. Fine ballast will also work. So what you do is you just get an amount in this little tool and spread it. And what you want to do is on the sides of the track is you want to get a bevel, because in the real world most track is beveled down for drainage. And also put the ballast between the ties. You don't have to worry about getting the ballast on top of the ties, because you're going to remove them before you glue it. And do the same thing to the other side. You fill in between the ties. You make sure you get the roadbed, you're covered. You take a little sharp tool, bring the ballast back to the roadbed so you don't get it spread out all over the place. Because again, in the real world, it's, you know, they don't spread ballast all over the place. Then you go along and take the ballast off of the ties. You don't have to get all of it off, but most of it. Like that. What you don't want to do is to get an excessive amount of ballast between the rails, because what you're going to do is just run your finger down and remove the ballast from the tops of the ties, just like that. It's very easy. Now once this is done and you've got everything the way that you want it, you want to get a mixture of water and liquid soap. They say just to put, or you could use rubbing alcohol. I've always used soap and water. They say just to put a few drops of soap in there. I always, you subscribe to more is better, so I put more soap in there. It really doesn't make any difference. And what you do is just give the ballast a few squirts. What the water and soap does is when you put down the 50-50 mix of water and glue, it breaks the surface tension of the water. If you don't put down the mixture of water and soap, the glue and water mixture will just sit right on top of the ballast and won't sink down into the ballast. And I've mixed up a mixture of water and white glue, about 50-50 mix, and a few drops of liquid soap. You take an eyedropper, a pipette, suck up some of the mixture, and just go right down the track, like that. And then you'll notice that your glue and water mixture will just soak right down into the ballast. And then you do that on the outside of each rail and between the rails. And don't worry about getting too much glue and water mixture on the ballast, because it really doesn't make any difference. It's going to, when it dries, it will dry clear. And then you just get a paper towel and just kind of mop up the excess. And then you let it sit for about 24 hours until it's dry, and then you go back and take a look at it, and if there's ballast that's on tops of the ties that you don't like, you just take your little tool and just go around and pick it off. And I've done probably what, about 3 to 4 inch section here. I generally do it in about 12-inch sections. So if you have 20 feet of track, it's going to take you a while to do it, but it's well worth it if you take your time and make sure that you keep an excess of ballast off the ties, because you want to see the ties, after your ballasting is done. And that's basically it. That's the way I do it. Other people have different ways of doing it. I've seen it done, and it comes out just as well. But this is the way I do it. So,
thank you, John.
thank